How you doing, Mr. Terry? Tell me something. Tell me something about yourself and describe your typical day.
Something about me. I actually grew up in the same neighborhood where I'm here serving as principal. I grew up about a block and a half over on 26 in Vines. And so um, I know a lot of the parents and grandparents and grew up with a lot of these people. And so it's always funny when the kids, when I see their parents or grandparents and they call me by my nickname, the kids are all kind of shocked and looking like, who is that, And then once I say, oh no, I know your parents, let them know we were kids and we grew up in the same neighborhood. It's so funny to get that, see that reaction that we get. So yeah, I grew up in it. This is one of the things I like about being in this school because now I'm back in my old neighborhood. It's give me a chance to get back to, to where I came from, get back to the neighborhood. A typical day for me is a long day because, of course, I'm here usually about an hour before minimum before everyone else gets here. Because again, I know I have to. There's a lot of things I got to put in place so that again I can try and ensure that the students and the staff have a smooth day. So there's a lot going on in the morning before staff members get here. Um, uh, Other than that, a typical day is just getting in and out of the classrooms and meeting with the teachers and talking with the teachers and seeing what other supports that they need. Meeting with the students, especially at the beginning of the day, because that's the time when I can try and gauge what type of day they're going to have, usually based on their smiles or their frowns in the morning. So it gives me a chance to get in front of them and try and, get them on the right pace before they come into the school. And usually once that day gets going, it's just pretty much, if I'm not observing, doing an observation in the classrooms, I'm just trying to get in and out of them so that I can make sure that I'm aware of what's going on and kind of keeping my, getting a vibe for the building. Meeting with parents, trying to problem, solve it's just a lot of things, that I'm doing. As you can kind of see, just me coming back from dropping students off at the end of the day because we do have periodic students miss their buses and being a citywide school, kids are coming from all over the city and I got to make sure that they get home because my day doesn't end until all the staff members are gone and all the students are at home. So again, starting early in the morning, 7:30 to sometimes 5, 6 at night. It's a long day, but it's a joyful day. There's a lot of activities, a lot of things going on, a lot of things that keep me busy, keep me young. The thing that inspired me to be a principal is just trying to make sure that I give students that all students, but primarily students that look like me, try and figure out a way to give them an opportunity to be successful. Growing up in a single parent household, being the eighth of 8 kids, and high poverty, you can imagine everything I got from my brothers. It was passed down, or just we didn't have. So just trying to give back, trying to be there, trying to make sure that I'm an advocate for these kids and do what's needed so that that they can come through the school and they're going to have their trips and falls and being there to try and catch them and give them what they need so that they can get back on track and be successful at the end of the day. I figure as a principal, I've been a teacher. I was a teacher for 13 years, so and I made some decisions for students. Being a principal now, I can kind of be a bigger advocate, not only within the building, but outside of the building, at central office and some of the other places in the community, to make sure that these kids get what they need. Because again, they all come from some type of situation, and some of the situations aren't good. And so, being able to see where their deficits are and again be that person that's trying to advocate and get them those resources that they need so that they can actually sit down in the classroom and focus on learning and not have to focus on some of the different things that they deal with back at home and in the community. So that's really been my motivation to try and be a principal and try and do the best is just to be that other voice, to try and get the kids what they need so they can be successful. If I could change one thing in the community, it would probably be trying to get more resources for the parents. Sometimes our parents don't get that fair knock. People don't give them that due credit that they deserve. Sometimes because of the poverty and what they don't have, people they judge them. And I know the parents they're doing the best that they can. They send us the best kids that they have, And what I would love to see is I would love to see our parents get more resources so that it can trickle down to our kids and our kids can come to school, not being affected by some of the things that they're not receiving at home. So I would try and identify some of those resources that they need. That's one of the things that I share with with a lot of people is that's a big difference for me than what the kids have or don't have today. We had a lot of resources that either we couldn't get them at home. There were community centers, there were people that were in the neighborhood that we could, got those needs met. A lot of that is not here today. So again, just trying to get those resources for the parents so that the kids don't have to, go through so many, ups and downs, and they can actually come to school prepared to learn and not worry about some of the traumas and different things that they're experiencing before they come to school. I think, as I previously mentioned, a lot of the kids, once they get out of school, a lot of them, unfortunately, they do go back to some of the neighborhoods, and they do go back to some of the areas where there's a lot of, a lot of bad things going on, a lot of rough things going on, and I know the parents are trying their best to protect them. But after school, it provides a structured opportunity for them to be in the in the midst of mentors and people who are professional, who have the students' best interests at heart. And a lot of our kids today, if they were to get some of that structure that the kids are getting in the after school programs, you would see a lot less of the issues going on in the community, and you would see a lot more of your students progressing academically. A lot of our kids here, we actually reflect back on their after school experiences, and we talk about the mentoring that they're receiving, and we talk about the expectations that your program has for them. And a lot of times that's all the kids need to be reminded of, and they get to it and do what they need to be doing. And so if you have a kid that does not have that experience or can't get that experience, that's something that they're missing out on. There's a lot of great learning, and I learned a lot with having great mentorships and people being after school working with me. Again, it keeps you out of trouble during those key times in the afternoon when trouble, statistics shows that trouble is definitely going to be on the rise. So it gives them somewhere structure to go and again be mentored. Some of my heroes again were people like my friend BRYAN. Some of the people. When I was younger, I went to the Salvation Army Community Center, which is about 2 blocks from the school. Some of our kids still go there, so a lot of staff members there. I mean, it was BRYAN and Leneva, it was Fred. I mean, it was a lot of professionals that really kind of looked out for us growing up. They tried to tell us the right way to do things and lead by example. And it's so funny because a lot of those messages that they had, they gave us as I grew up. I really did understand where they were going and how we avoided a lot of pitfalls just by the stuff that they shared with us. As I mentioned before, those heroes, those are the people who we looked up to. A lot of those situations aren't here today, or they're very few, and so a lot of kids who are growing up now don't get an opportunity to have a hero. And so, again, a lot of the lessons that they taught and shared and explained, I may not have gotten it then, but I definitely understood it as I grew up, and I think that contributed to the person that I am, being able to come out of an area that's such high poverty and a lot of mischief going on, where I'm able to now turn around and try and come back and help and steer some of these kids out of that danger that and the mischief that we went through. So yeah, those are my heroes. Those people back in the in the community center days, and that were there to help guide us and teach us those life lessons that, like I said, we may not have understood then, but now I got them. So now I'm trying to pass those on.
So what's your nickname?
Well, my nickname is Scotty because that's my middle name, and so majority of the people around here I grew up with, that's what they call me by, and that's usually how I usually can distinguish where I know people from. Because again, in the neighborhood they'll call me Scotty, and if I'm at work they'll call me Mr. Terry. So I say, okay, that helps me out knowing where I know people from. This is outstanding. Again, when this is first pitched to me, that's why you got no resistance for me and any support I can give, because again, the biggest thing for me, the measurement for me, is the students. And so being able to go up and talk to them about the program, they're all excited. I mean, they can't wait. At the end of the day, we have to settle them down and get them situated somewhere because they're looking out the windows and out the doors for you guys. And as you can see, when the weather was nice, they standing at the curb waiting on you, you know. And so to me, that's a testament of the value of the program. Because again, the kids are enjoying it. They love it. And one of the biggest things is it steers the kids out of trouble. You know, they know if they get in trouble, they won't be here and they won't be able to go. And so you'll start to see them make better decisions. And not only that, but you'll start seeing their classmates kind of correcting them. And that's what we want to see. Because they'll tell them, hey, you know, we got hip hop into you. Hey, you gonna go home? And so instantly they straighten up and they do exactly what they're supposed to do. But also one of the things that I like that I've seen as well, Greg, was the interest that you guys have in their days when they come in and they sit down, or you see them in the office and they haven't been doing what they're supposed to do. You guys step right in and talk with them and you know, give them that positive message. And it shows to me as well as the kids the value that you truly are here to see them, you know, be better. And I always tell people, kids can read through anything. If you're truly not here to support them, to help them in what they're trying to do, they'll write you off real quick. But once they truly can see that you're here and they've had those encounters and those conversations that you've had with them are true, they'll do anything and they'll give you all the trust in the world. And so we're super excited. I think I always feel like we're lucky to have it because one of the biggest things for me is we've always had programs, but they all failed. And one of the reasons they failed was because we always would say we don't have transportation after school. But now, since seeing the program, how expansive your program is, now what we're trying to do is figure out how can we now come up with additional funding so that transportation is not an issue and possibly get more kids, because there is such a value, you know, to what the students are receiving through the mentoring and everything. So it's great.